Good day, and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Welcome to episode 1 of books that have influenced me or otherwise stayed with me. Stay tuned, coming up here on Drew's Book Reviews. Alright, thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to make sure you hit that like, comment, subscribe. You know the routine. Dragon's Den Discord will be linked below. You can join us over there as well. So this is the first episode in a series of videos that I hope to do this year throughout 2025 about books that have stayed with me or otherwise influenced me throughout my life. So this is episode 1. And today we're going to be starting with one of the books that I picked up first in junior high or middle school, thanks to the influence of a really good English teacher back in my middle school or junior high days. And that book is Douglas Adams' classic, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So let me tell you a little story about how I first found out about this book and why I picked it up. So in middle school, of course, I've mentioned before that I am just a massive Trekkie. I absolutely love Star Trek. I'm still rewatching every episode of every series now because I just love the Star Trek universe. And in middle school, I was always having to do like these book reports for English class, and I'd always managed to pick a Star Trek book report. Now, interestingly enough, not a single Star Trek book is going to make this list of books that have stayed with me or otherwise influenced me, even though I was so crazy nuts about those books in my English class growing up in school. But what happened was I was submitting all these book reports on Star Trek book reports until one day my English teacher, and I've talked about this before, came up to me and said, "Andrew, I am not going to accept another Star Trek book report from you. You've got to find a different book. There are so many good books out there. You got to find something else to pick up and read, and you got to figure it out. But no more Star Trek book reports." And so I went to the school library and I found Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I thought, you know what? It's not Star Trek. It's still space. Spaceships are still involved. Aliens are still involved. Why not? If I can't do Star Trek, I'm still going to do something that might be at least something like Star Trek, right? And I picked up The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, and it was a riot. I started laughing at almost every page. I absolutely loved this book and just fell in love with the story and the ludicrousness and the stupidity of what's happening within this book and this story as a whole. And I found Douglas Adams to be an absolutely hilarious writer, telling some of the funniest stories that I have ever read, and it's just stuck with me ever since then. What A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy did for me is it helped me realize that there is so much good writing out there in the science fiction genre, and there's more to science fiction than just Star Trek. I mean, intellectually, of course, I knew that, but it really helped, as you might say, broaden my horizons as I picked up another book in a sci-fi world that wasn't my go-to and helped me understand that there's so much more out there. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was really my first foray into science fiction outside of the Trek universe, and it's what really began my journey through a series of science fiction stories. And some of these other books you'll see come up in other videos about books that have stayed with me or otherwise influenced me throughout the year in this video series. But The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is one that has really kind of stuck with me all these years. I've read it multiple times and I keep going back to that. And I've really come to love this series of books. A trilogy, as it says, a trilogy in 5 parts. Because Douglas Adams is just cheeky that way. And I'm never going to forget this. I celebrate Towel every day because I'm Towel Day every year because I am kind of quirky that way. In fact, I even have my Towel Day towel, Don't Panic, because I've become such a big fan of this particular book. And I love the writing. And one of these days I am going to go back and reread it again because it's just a classic. And I don't think this book is ever going to leave me. And it's just had such a lasting impression on me that I feel like I'm always going to remember this book with fond memories. No matter how many times I reread it, I'll always remember, in the face of adversity, don't panic, because it really is such a great read. So that is one of the books that have stuck with me forever, and I don't think it's ever going to leave me. And I'm so grateful to a English teacher, Miss Duff, from my middle school days, who inspired me to pick up something other than Star Trek and led me down the rabbit hole, so to speak, of some great science fiction and fantasy reads. And The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is one of those books that have stayed with me and have influenced me and will always be remembered with fond memories and one I'll go back to time and time again. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what are some books that maybe have stayed with you or influenced you. I'd love to hear from you. Chat with me over on the Discord, of course, or like, comment, subscribe down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, until next time, keep on reading. Bye.